Welcome to the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim.
That's Ashley.
That's Kim. We're here to recap and relive our favorite moments from My ID Is Gangnam Beauty, episode 9.
We're going to jump right in, so this is your one and only warning. Spoilers ahead. So if you haven't seen episode 9 yet, go watch that and meet back up with us here so we can talk about this episode together. Mm-hmm. So today's episode is titled A 20-Year-Old Survival Story. KyungSeok is officially in the world of this struggling college student, and his transition into normalcy is kind of great. So
Relatable.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Welcome to the KDrama Show. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Kim.
We're here to unpack your all-time favorite Korean dramas and chat about all the reasons that we find these shows so charming.
And so addictive. And we know you do too, so settle in with some ramen and a boba tea while we dive into the KDrama Show with Ashley and Kim. For those of you who love our Ashley tea, that is no longer a segment on our show. But it is its own thing that lives on our Instagram. So make sure that you head there at the KDrama Show and keep up with Ashley and all of the exciting things that she's doing there. So, did you want to do our episode 8 recap?
Sure. So we kind of start a little bit farther back before KyungSeok moves out, which is the end of our episode, actually, from episode 8. So he gets cut off financially from his dad. He is struggling a little bit trying to figure out what is next. We have our date, not a date, movie date with KyungSeok and Mireille as they're actually doing an assignment, but we had some great fantasy moments of what's going to happen if he feeds me popcorn using straws as chopsticks. Still have not tried that.
I do have popcorn, and I do have chopsticks. And I have bendy straws.
And you have bendy straws. Perfect. Let's try it out. But they end up going out to dinner as well and kind of trying to just feel each other out of what's going on, except Miri is completely adamant that there is nothing going on and they can only be friends.
I think at this point she is trying to convince herself too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like she sees the signs. You know what I mean?
Like, no. I can't see anything if I don't look.
Can't see it, it's not there.
I don't know what you're talking about. But they end up walking home in the rain, and so we have a very sweet time of them just enjoying each other as people as well. Along with KyungSeok's woes, he has moved in with Yoojin, and Yoojin's lamenting that his business is going under, and he has decided, you know what, I don't think I can make this work.
He hardly tried.
He didn't try. Maybe
tried like a month.
Maybe a month and a half if we're pushing it.
Generous.
But KyungSeok learns that WooYoung is actually looking for a roommate and goes to talk to him about staying there and maybe trying to figure out this adult thing with somebody who's been doing it for a little while longer.
Mm-hmm. He has a bit of a ulterior motive, though.
Just a slight one. Just a teeny tiny one. Just a teeny tiny one. But so they agree, and so KyungSeok moves in with WooYoung, and Mireille's parents, we end our episode with Mireille's parents stopping by, and her mom giving her a bunch of side dishes and telling her, go give these to your sunbae. And this is when Mireille finds out that they are now roommates. End episode 8.
Episode 9. This first topic I named Moving Out.
I like it.
No?
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
I'm going to have to get you learned later. Anthony works at the grocery store. Good luck moving up, because I'm moving out. Oh, man.
Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. I won't hold it against you. Forever. KyungSeok finds out that WooYoung is just a little bit stifling, I think.
I loved his term. You're a nag.
Yeah, he kind of is.
Stop.
But he tells KyungSeok, okay, listen, here are the ground rules, right? Mm-hmm. You can't pay me in objects. If you're gonna vacuum, make sure you open the windows. Here are the rules of the fridge. You label this. You don't stick things here or else it's mine. Mm-hmm. Be careful with the recycling. And then he goes, "You nag more than our housemaid." KyungSeok does. And then after that fact, when KyungSeok is trying to like put away his clothes, is when WooYoung's like, "You're folding it wrong."
I don't have enough space. Actually, if you do it like this.
Yeah, you'll have more room.
Are you Marie Kondo over here? Are you sparking joy?
Apparently. I think this was even before that, wasn't it?
I think so, but there was no joy being sparked.
No, there was just frustration.
Annoyance.
Mire's mom, on the other hand, is like exhilarated at the prospect of WooYoung being a part of their future family.
Yeah, she is planning out like their future life.
Yes.
This is my future son-in-law, and her poor Tae-shik's.
I know.
Stop it. My daughter is not old enough to get married. You need to.
Well, he even calls him a punk. Which WooYoung is like the least punky
character
in this entire show.
Absolutely.
Probably in any show that we've ever watched. It's probably the least punky.
One of the more mature for the age group that we're.
Yeah. Very helpful, very honest.
Considerate.
Yeah, so it's just so funny how it doesn't matter who you are or how good you are. You're never good enough for a daddy's daughter.
It's true.
It's true. We catch back up from the last episode where we see Mire arriving with the side dishes at WooYoung's apartment when KyungSeok exits the bathroom. And the look of shock on Mire's face, but WooYoung's play for the upper hand here in saying like, oh yeah, he saw cool Hyung moving out and doing it on his own, so he wanted to do it as well.
Buddy. You were looking so not cool in this moment. You need to...
Amazing.
Maybe chill. Well, what's interesting about after all of that is when Mire goes home, she's telling Hyungjun, like, this is what's going on. I wonder what happened. I wonder, if his mom knows. Like, she ends up being very concerned. Mm-hmm. And I just love that Hyungjun's just like, I think something's going to happen between the two of you. It's totally doable. And she's just like, no, that's just my friend.
Lies.
Honey. Stop it.
But while they're having dinner, WooYoung also has prepared like a meal for KyungSeok as a welcome. And it consists of the panchan that Mire's mom had made for her to take over there. And KyungSeok kind of mutters to himself, because he saw them meet in the street, right?
Right.
But he kind of mutters to himself, like, how close are you guys? Like, how many times have you spoken with her parents? And, but WooYoung brings up the topic of future meals and what have you. But KyungSeok has not worked a day in his life.
No.
But in response to, like, WooYoung's picking at him, being like, oh, you're gonna figure out what adult life is really like, he just, like, takes the food from his chopsticks on the shared dish and just, like, shoves it in his mouth, like, keep talking, because I can beat you up.
Also, I'm trying to undermine you a little bit here, so...
Yeah.
But I like that WooYoung, like, yeah, he's being obnoxious in this first part, and quite naggy.
Yeah.
But he is trying to give him advice and be like,
it's good advice.
This is like, it's going to slap you in the face tomorrow morning when you wake up and you realize you have all of these things to pay for and you don't have a job.
Yeah.
You don't have the money to buy food, bus pass. You have nothing right now, and it's going to hit you.
I think that WooYoung is amused by that fact, but I don't think it's mean-spirited so much as it's just like, okay, here it comes.
He's kind of waiting for it to...
Reality to hit, yeah.
Reality to hit, because I think he's like, this is how you're going to grow up.
Yeah.
So yeah, not mean-spirited.
No.
Whatsoever.
A little antagonistic, but not mean-spirited.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Up next, I called this one Close Quarters.
It's always unique to me, just because, especially where we are, like, recycling's not...
In the forefront?
Yeah, it's not that it isn't, like, a big deal, because there are several, people, especially in our area, that are very good at recycling and making sure that everything is in the right place, but it's not a normal thing here.
It's the social expectation is not at the same level that it is in. Right.
So to go places. And, because if anything, it'd be like, okay, yeah, this is all recyclable, but we're not going to sort it out. We're not like, this
That's
is
how
glass,
our container works.
Right. which is obviously going to make the people who actually do that job, it's making their life a lot easier when you do sort it, but that's just not a thing. So it's always just very amusing to watch the recycling scenes for us because it's just not a part of our lives in that way.
It actually used to be when I was growing up.
Yeah.
My mom was a hippie.
You know, I can kind of see that.
And we would take all of our recycling to the place and we'd sort it there. That was like a weekly thing we did.
Yeah, I don't think we ever did that. We had a burn barrel.
You lived a little farther away than we did,
I lived in the middle of nowhere.
We also had burn barrels, though,
Yeah.
for our garbage.
So Mireille and KyungSeok meet up at the recycling station. And this is normal. She's all about this. And KyungSeok's intentional
invasion
of the bubble was kind of hilarious.
It was very cute.
It was so adorable because he's just like reaching around her, kind of like
it was cute because it wasn't unprecedented. Like
the umbrella scene in the last episode, they were
close. There was context there that made him like encroaching on her space not super inappropriate.
Right. Or creepy.
Even though she was uncomfortable with it, her discomfort was born out of, I can't like you, not that I don't like you.
Right. You're being creepy. It's,
here's the line, please don't cross it because I don't know what I will do if you do.
Please don't make me have hope.
Yeah. So baseline, don't just stand within 2 inches of somebody's face. That's not okay.
No, that's very rude. Don't do that. But yeah, so it's very adorable, and she just tells him, like, can you please back up? I would like to get my stuff done here.
Yeah.
Like, and so he starts throwing in, like, the beer cans or soda cans, and she's like, okay, clearly you don't know what you're doing. And proceeds to teach him how to smash a can, which you could just say you have to stomp on them. I feel like that. But she manages to hurt herself, which I felt so seen as a viewer. I would do the exact same thing, except I would just land and bruise myself.
Okay, but actually, I was smashing cans the other day, too.
Did you fall?
I was close one time, but I was also wearing my husband's, like, slides to do it.
Oh, no.
Don't know why I thought that was a good idea, because they're easily, like, 3 inches too long on either end of my foot. But it's not as easy as it looks to smash cans. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, she manages to kind of roll an ankle and then slip off the can. Yeah. And we have a recreation of her falling into him, except this time it's a little different when he catches her. And, you know.
It's not an open palm this time.
No,
He's grabbed her torso.
Like, are you good? And he's genuinely concerned, like, are you trying to fall on your head? Like, because that's the direction you're going here. And he, you know, helps her sit down and tries to look at her ankle, and she's just like, no, I'm okay. Like, it's okay. But I love when she gets home, she just is like,
replays the moment.
What do I do now? Oh, what? Huh? So that was just
it was cute.
Very cute.
Kind of exaggerated, but cute.
I was excited about it, though, because I was like, oh, yay, we're getting romance now.
Yes.
Finally.
We finally breached that topic. But KyungSeok does some of his mental budgeting again, doing the mental math. Trying to figure out how to pay for everything that he needs with, like, the $3 to his name currently. But his comment about the taxi just kind of goes to show that he doesn't really have any sort of practice with, like, planning ahead when it comes to his finances.
Right.
And this is going to be such a long road because he was completely broke and didn't stop to consider that, yeah, maybe a $60 taxi ride was not the way to go here.
Maybe I should have waited on...
We should have thought about this.
WooYoung was right. Reality will...
It will slap him.
Smack him in the face. But I also did enjoy do you have this as the next one for him finding, like, going to the convenience store?
I have the shower first.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
WooYoung, he gets a call, right? And it's KyungSeok saying, "Where's the lever for hot water?" He goes, "Oh, you just have to look here or something." And he goes, "Why are you, I haven't turned it on yet. Why are you using hot water? It's summertime." And KyungSeok just kind of pauses, and then he's like, "I didn't know that guys took hot showers in the summer or something like that."
Mm-hmm.
And KyungSeok just hangs up. And then in like his own spitefulness toward WooYoung, he's like, "All right, here we go.
I can do
Cold
this."
shower it is." And he just flips on the cold tap and steps into it.
No,
And you just see him like this.
He just stares at it for like 5 seconds and is just,
Am I really gonna do this?
dang it.
I've been challenged. I must rise to meet this. But I don't care how unmanly that would have made me. I'm using the hot water. And it's going to be scalding.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to burn my skin off. That is how I take showers.
Yes, because that is comfortable.
But I've heard that that's a girl thing. I don't know.
I mean, I've heard that too, but also, like, I want to enjoy my shower, not be miserable.
Yep, exactly.
So along with the new reality hitting him hard, he tries to go get some breakfast at a convenience store and is realizing I have $2 and I cannot buy anything here. And then, like, he even picks up a triangle gimbap and just goes.
I'm pretty sure he had like 60 cents and it was 90 cents for the for the thing.
He had.
It was rough.
Yeah. But it was very endearing almost to watch him, because he steps outside and finds a coin on the ground, and just him battling his pride of take my hands out of my pockets and bend down to pick it up. Here's the thing, nobody cares. You see a penny, pick it up. You might as well. It's been there for a while. Unless somebody's going, man, I dropped my 100 or like 10 cents or whatever it was.
101, yeah.
101. So, but the pride then stepped back in when Mireille and Hyungjin walked back up, and they walk with him to the bus stop, and he again realizes, I can't even pay for my bus ride.
Mm-hmm. I think it's hilarious. First of all, triangle kimbap was my first meal in Korea. That was the first thing I had, was at a airport convenience store while we were waiting for the bus at like 2 a.m. their time.
Right.
But yeah, so it kind of holds a special place in my heart. Triangle kimbap and banana milk. Banana. But anyway, I love like this internal struggle that he has. It's so funny to me that Mireille is like interpreting his erratic behavior as interest in her. And it's really just his poor adjustment to this new lifestyle, but it also, he is into her, so it's kind of like a net gain for him.
Right.
But it's just funny how she thinks that this weird behavior, this weird change of behavior in him is strictly because he's interested and not because he doesn't know how to live an adult life. How
to manage anything of his life now.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's had no experience in the real world. He's used to limousine rides and
maids and
yeah, exactly. So
yes. It's the childish thing, sorry.
It is. Number 3, I titled this one Desperation. The study guide.
It was kind of I kind of enjoyed it because it was a bit of a jab towards Sua. Because Wonho texts Jiho and is like, hey, do you have the study guide? Can I borrow it? And she even makes the comment of like, why is he being so nice to me? It must be because it's not working on you. And I was like,
fair.
I mean, you're right. But also, like, it could just be because you're the one with the study guide.
That's what my thought is.
So, but I did kind of like that line, because then Sua just kind of gets this look of like...
She didn't like it.
no.
She did not like that
Oh,
comment at
I'm
all.
losing my grip on yet another one.
But in response to this, she decides to update her profile picture to the photo that he took of her at the festival. And Sungwoon gets some mad forehead flicks for losing that bet. That was brutal.
That poor guy.
Poor kid.
Oh.
But Eun is busy trying to get closer to Suwa. And I think she's just trying to decipher what sort of person Suwa is or what she's really about. Because she always has this mask up, I think, and I think that Eun can see it in a way that not everyone else is really tuning into.
Well, and she's seen her in different situations.
Right.
Also.
I think she thinks that Suwa is probably struggling and is just afraid to speak up about it. But she's being very genuine about it. And
she's
Suwa's not accustomed to that.
She's not trying to be, because she's like, you know, oh, hey, could I come over sometime? Oh, no. Oh, okay. Well, like, do you live with your grandparents? Like, just trying to, like,
connect with her.
Yeah, feel things out. Like, I'm trying to reach out a hand here.
Right.
And instead, it's just a
wall.
My grandparents are dead.
Which sits weird with her because she knows better.
Right.
She heard the conversation between Suwa and her grandmother.
Yeah.
And followed them up to Suwa's house. So she's like, you're now lying to me and I don't know why.
KyungSeok is starving.
Yes.
He is so hungry.
He's a growing boy.
He is hearing people talk about food and what kind of food they want to have for lunch.
It's just the worst place to be in when you're hungry.
And I just love that he sits up and he grabs stuff and, like, material or
shoves like cotton in his ears.
Just shoves it in. Like, I can't hear anything. And then somebody walks by with a corn dog and he smells it and he's just like, I'm so hungry.
You've been there. It's not fun.
No.
But WooYoung is so gracious toward KyungSeok. And I think KyungSeok really battles his pride, but kind of decides that he's hungry enough to take up an offer of a meal from his mortal enemy in this case, because he cannot think about anything else.
And it's free. That is when it is acceptable to accept free food.
This next one I called Hidden Motives. But Taehee is gushing over Taeyoung oppa, right? In the cafeteria with Yena. But Taeyoung, for some reason or another, is not wanting to go public with their relationship. And this kind of raises Yena's suspicions a little bit.
Because she's a good friend in this moment and even asks Taehee, like, why aren't you?
Whose idea was this?
Yeah,
was
why aren't you being
his?
public with this? And she's like, oh, no, I agree with that too. And she's like, I don't think you do.
Yeah.
I think you are just so excited to have somebody like you for who you are. But they're also very unwilling to admit that they like you for who you are.
Yes.
Like, that's a problem.
I think that it's pretty clear that the interaction with Suwa has kind of made him second guess everything. Because I don't know that he cared up until that point.
Right.
I lost my spot.
Well, because then he is leaving and sees Suwa and Jihyo. And
well, before that, though.
Oh.
Jungho in the cafeteria. Yenaya. Bing, 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 bing. It's adorable.
I just love it. She's like...
But she is not interested.
She's just like, you are obnoxious. Please never speak to me again. No more.
Anyway, sorry.
But then that's when Taeyoung goes out and meets Suwa and Jihyo and asks them, are they going to eat? But that conversation has messed with him enough that he's now looking at Suwa like, oh, maybe I could take her out for drinks. Maybe that would be okay. And she knows it.
Yep.
And it's very...
The coy little smiles and the lingering stares and things like that. Just to kind of...
emphasize...
reel them in.
Yep.
But WooYoung in WooYoung fashion, can't help but try to give KyungSeok some advice. So they're eating lunch together, right? But KyungSeok actually seems somewhat receptive to it for once, I think. Because I think he recognizes that WooYoung is actually trying to help him. And
he's giving him a lot
looking out for him.
Yeah, he's giving him a lot of good advice of, like, look for this type of place. If,
these are the red flags.
Right, if they have a lot of turnover, or if they have whatever, like, maybe don't do that, He's like, if you have questions, like, you can come ask me about this. Like, I'll do whatever I can to help you out. If it's, more this field, I probably know somebody.
Right.
And so, like, he's not being roommate WooYoung or even
competitive
rival. This is, I am your TA. I am looking out for you in a way that you can continue to, like,
succeed.
Especially, well, you're a freshman.
And now he knows, though, that this is the son of someone he really respects in his scientific community. So I think that
wants to make sure that he's at least okay.
Yeah, and genuinely, I think he's just that kind of person. It wouldn't matter if he was or was not of someone of good breeding, if you will.
Yeah.
But Chanu, being the scavenger that he is, overhears this conversation, and he tries to find an in with KyungSeok by getting him a job. He's like, hey, I could help you, I know XYZ. But KyungSeok's really just focused on getting him to apologize to Mireille. And
because Chunmoo apologizes to KyungSeok, and he's like, I don't need that.
Yeah, I'm not the one who is wronged here.
You didn't, I just...
And then he
beat you,
hems and haws, and he's like, oh, I probably should. I've been trying to find her. And he's just like, if you're going to apologize, do it properly. And then he just stands up and walks away. The slow clap. Beautiful.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
So much.
But then, of course, Chanu has to, like, mutter something as KyungSeok walks away and says that KyungSeok is a jerk because of his dad. And it's also crazy to like someone like Mireille when Hyun-soo is around.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, well.
Eesh. But then Chunwoo finds Mireille. Well, first he calls her, and she pulls out her phone and sees his name and just hangs up immediately. She's like, I don't want to talk to him. Like, and I loved when Hyungdun asks her, like, are you avoiding him because you're scared? And she just goes, you don't avoid poop because it's scary. You avoid it because it's gross. Truer words have never been spoken. You are correct. That's why you avoid it, not because it's scary. Like, you don't need to get involved with it. But he walks up to her and tries to get her alone again to apologize. And I just love that Hyunjin is just like, no.
Well, she sees Mireille react to something, to someone walking up to them, like freeze, and she goes, is that the poop?
She is so... I love her
She's
so
hilarious.
much. I love her so much. But I just... Great best friend mode activated of, no, I'm going with her no matter where she's going, so you can try this. And his apology...
It was decent.
It wasn't bad. On our knees.
Yeah, that was
good. I would think that would probably be a good place for you to start, is begging on your knees for how horrible you were because you tried to actually beat her
with a mop.
I think on your knees is a good place for you to start out there, Home Slice. And she's very gracious and like beyond mature to just be like, as long as you regret it, like, let's just go our own way.
Yeah, and she's super ready to just wash her hands of it and have him out of her life, I think. Because Hyunjung is like, what are you doing? Why are you forgiving him? And she's like, as long as you've reflected on your actions, let's just forget it. And then he actually stands up and goes to shake her hand to thank her. And she's just like, don't touch me. Go live your life. Let me live mine. Don't talk to me again.
We can just go from there.
But as they're walking away...
Oh, He's so gross. I told you this earlier, and I was like, they leave, and he just...
He's like, what's with that short girl?
He's Mop. And what's with that short girl? It's not like her dad's a congressman. Like, dude, that's the only reason you apologize is you were scared of KyungSeok's dad.
Mm-hmm. Which, whatever gets him out of Mire's hair, I guess.
That's true. That is true.
This next one I called Cut Off. You've been cut off.
I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
It's been like 10 years.
I know.
But someone gets together with Yoojin's dad.
This whole scene of them interacting was
icky,
astonishing.
Well, this is where we learn who Yoojin's dad actually is.
Yeah.
And he is the priest that had given Sungwon, like, sung his praises, given him all the accolades as being a family man, being family oriented in front of that church.
Right.
On a Sunday morning. Powerful men together plotting against their sons. I will say I didn't like the way they painted the church in this.
No, I didn't either. But so they meet and they're sharing their woes over their children's behavior and choices. Except Yoojin's dad is just like, you know what? The best thing to do? Cut them off financially and they'll figure it out. They'll come
crawling back.
Because at the same time we see that Yoojin is having somebody look at the building. Mm-hmm. And very, very wisely invites Sungboom to come help him out.
Yes.
Because she's like, an offer is made of like 20 million less than what he had paid for it. And
20 million won.
Won, sorry. Not American dollars. And he's like, okay, wait, no, this is what I paid for this. And she steps in and is just like, okay, considering we've had renovations and we've done this and all of the area around us is doing well. He just doesn't know what he's doing. And
he's still a great property.
He's just like, yeah, whatever she's saying, yeah. And so they, offer a little bit more. And he goes, I'll take it. And she's like, what are you doing?
You are bad at negotiating,
Stop talking. Let me help you. That's why you called me. But so I just have, after Yoojin's dad is like, this is what I did, and now my son is coming home, I just have, in all caps, terrible parenting advice. No.
Well, Sungwon kind of comes to the conclusion that he should just completely cut off KyungSeok and even stop paying his tuition. Mm-hmm. Messing with, like, his future livelihood, right? And career path. But their conclusion in all of this is that nobody really wins in family squabbles like this. A child cannot win against their parents, and a parent cannot win against their child, because at the end of the day, there's always going to be bitterness. And it's like, when you do things like take away somebody's college education, tends to be some problems.
There's going to be some bitterness there.
Like punch somebody in the face and damage their brain, there tends to be some consequences there. It's fine.
Listen to none of what they have said. No. It was very infuriating.
Go to therapy instead.
Go to therapy instead.
Better help. I'm just kidding.
Sponsor us.
Sorry. This one I called Yeon WooYoung, superhero. Shupa. We are in the chemistry lab, and we hear some of the explanations that WooYoung is giving. Tie your hair back, make sure you don't have loose clothing, just the general chemistry lab things that you hear if you've ever been in school.
Chemistry is dangerous when you are actually working on experiments like that.
I inhaled hydrochloric acid, and I got to use the face rinser in high school. It was very embarrassing. And it really did damage my sense of smell. I have not smelled the same since. COVID be darned. It was hydrochloric acid for me.
So yes, these are like important things to follow when you're in a chem lab. Yeah.
I miss smelling things. Anyway, we hear some of the girls say he should go easy. He's a total fossil. He must have no friends. And he just he overhears it and he just brings his head down to their level and goes, "Thanks for not calling me Satan. Are people spreading rumors about me again? Because I'm sure he's heard it all.
Oh, yeah.
He's a teaching assistant. You know, he's not exactly making friends by grading people's papers.
No, you have to have some very thick skin.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have students who are, like,
young,
but also, like, my grade has to be X, Y, and Z. Why did you give me?
Mm-hmm. But we hear Yoon Byo pipe up immediately and very awkwardly comes to his defense. She just stands up very, like, militaristic.
Mm-hmm.
And
She was so sweet.
You must be well liked and respected by everyone. And he's just kind of like, great.
Thanks.
And walks away. And she just kind of sits down. And Taehi and Yena are just giggling because they understand what just happened.
Right. They know.
Yeah.
Well, and I love that they pull her aside and they're like, okay. And I love that she just kind of sits there and is just like, I've been watching him for a while and he's just competent and I like him, so I want to date him. All right.
Simple. I like it. To the point.
To the point.
Girl knows what she wants.
But I love that they're just, they giggle not to be mean-spirited, but because it's like...
They've never seen her like this before.
Right. This is a whole new side of her of like, we're being extra girly girl, like...
Well, Taehi says, are you being serious right now? And Yena goes, have you ever heard her tell a joke before?
Right. So
this is very cut and dry, so...
So it was a very cute scene of the senior girls and their friendship of, you know, how it's evolved over the years. And they're like, okay. And I love this in this moment. Yena's like, maybe we should, you know, grow your hair out, wear some makeup, do this. She goes, I like your style. But compared to what his ex-girlfriends have looked like, you might not be his type.
Yeah.
It's like, I think there's nothing wrong with you, but you're not going to be eye-catching to him because that's not what he's gone for.
See, I hated her comment.
Well, I think it was just sweet because she's not trying to be
pull
mean.
her down, no.
And she's just being like, this is also because she's, you know, Yeonbo has no experience. So
I still hated her comment.
I mean, it wasn't very kind.
I just thought, I don't know. I just think if they're not gonna like you for you, then why change?
I'm not disagreeing.
No, I can see the love behind it. I just thought it was kind of like, no, don't go that direction because that's like borderline where Mirei ended up where she is. But mid-conversation, Chanu, he kind of stomps in and he starts asking about part-time jobs that they might know of on behalf of KyungSeok. And they're kind of just like, what? And he says,
why?
Oh, we're friends now.
Not just friends, we're close friends.
Rain makes the ground stronger, more fertile, is what he says. I don't know. It probably didn't translate right for my...
No, I didn't write down what it said when I watched it, because it said something like, there's always a calm after the storm, or something like that.
Yeah, that's not what mine said. But Jungboon is sharing the news about Berlin with Mirei, and they both kind of catch... they happen upon WooYoung Sunbae, who is bringing a water bottle to this elderly employee who's changing the trash can liners outside on a hot day. And he gives her the water and says, no, you sit there, I'll take care of this. And he empties out the trash for her. And she's like, you need to stop, that's my job. And he goes so far as to like pick it up and carry it away with her in tow. And it's just a very sweet...
This is just
he doesn't think anyone's
thing.
Watching.
Right.
It's just what he wanted to do. But Mirei, I think, kind of starts to realize that she might admire him as something more than just a Sunbae in this moment. Which is interesting to me, that she must feel that he is someone more in her league than KyungSeok would be.
Yeah, especially considering their ages and
he's also a highly sought after
right. There's
person.
Multiple. I mean, her favorite company, the professor who's close to Hyesung, like he personally introduced WooYoung to.
Yeah, so it's just interesting how she's not intimidated by him, but in the same way that she is by KyungSeok.
Yeah.
And it could just be the context of their prior interactions in middle school that are kind of playing into it in a weird way, but
Right.
I don't know. It's still cute.
It is still cute. Because they're both standing there going, wow, look at him. Like, he is genuinely, like, one of the nicest guys that we have ever known in our life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how often do you see that?
Yeah.
I don't see it today by anyone. Certainly no guys.
It's because you're not watching when they're doing it.
I also don't leave my house. I come
Fair,
here.
same.
I come here.
My house is your house, right?
At this point, yeah.
This next one I called You're Insecure. Don't know what for.
Yes. KyungSeok is trying to figure things out. He's sitting in the classroom and looking at job applications and figuring out expenses still. Like, he's trying to figure out this adult thing still, because that's what this whole debacle is. And Sua comes in and finds her way to sit next to him again, and then asks him for help on one of the physics questions. And so he just like writes it down for her and was just like, okay, yeah, this is how you do it. You know what? She hasn't bothered me in a while, I think was part of it. Like, she's not trying to be rude or obnoxious. We have to get through this together regardless. And Mireille comes in and sees him and kind of notices that she doesn't feel quite right about seeing them together. We're getting...
Immediately feels like insecure again about
Goes
her
right
friendship
back.
with KyungSeok.
But when she's walking down, KyungSeok sees her and like calls her over, moves his bag, goes out of his way, sit by me.
The bag that Sua expected him to move when she asked to sit by him earlier. And then she watches him perk up at the sight of Mireille, invite her to sit by them, and move that bag.
And place it in between him and Sua, kind of like, there's a wall.
I cannot see you. You are
You do
not
not
there.
exist.
But then he starts to ask her about that same assignment. And
Yeah.
they start up a conversation about it.
And he goes out, yeah, and so Sua's it was again a satisfying moment of,
Yes, it was.
ha. But then people come in and there's, okay.
Jungboon though and Un, they're like holding each other over across the way, kind of like Untak's ghosties.
Yes!
But they had pulled out a chair for Mireille when they saw her come in, and then
They watched the
Jungboon
whole-
just kind of, they're giggling and they kind of push the chair back into the table.
They're fangirling over this.
I love them so much.
They're so sweet.
They're girls.
Yes. Yes, they
I
are.
like it.
But I feel like this is just because I don't like when I'm the center of attention as I'm on video camera.
But there's no real people right now.
That's true. That is true. The nosiness of everyone.
Yeah, as the conversation continues, you mean?
That I would just get up and leave. Like, I don't have to share anything of my life with you people. But multiple people come in, are asking KyungSeok if he's moved out. Is it really true? Are you really looking for a job? Doesn't your dad give you money? It is none of their
It's
business.
the Korean Inquisition. Sorry.
But like, they are nosy. Like, it is back off. Like, truly. And Un even brings up, you know, how Sua has also moved out. And I don't think this was done to be in like a malicious way or anything. It was just like, no, we're kind of at the age where that's
Normal.
you start to move out and you
Taking
start to
some of
figure
the
out
pressure off of KyungSeok.
right. You start to figure out how to do this whole adult thing. And someone I kind of was like, dude, that was too much. He stirs that pot. Are you guys living together? And you could see how tickled Sua is by that question. and just, no, we're not.
Well, like, to contrast that, there's Mireille, who, when they're saying that KyungSeok had moved out, she's like, please don't say that you moved into my neighborhood. I don't like what that would imply. I don't want to bring any more attention to the fact that we're close. That just highlights my inequities here.
Right.
And then Sua, on the other hand, is allowing these rumors to run rampant. But she tries to play off when Un redirects the attention off of the spotlight off of KyungSeok onto her and says, didn't you move out too? And Sua's like, how do I get out of this? But then she just said, yeah, I did. And it's super fun, right, KyungSeok?
Rude.
As if it's not a struggle, and you know what I mean.
Right. Like, no, girl, you had to get a part-time job so that you could move out because you didn't like your home life or whatever your background is.
Cover up the fact that she's living in a low-income area. Yeah.
Like, maybe let's not. But someone continues with stirring that pot and of like, oh, you guys just look so good together. Why don't you just start dating already? And I felt really bad for Wonho in that because he's just like, stop.
Well, they start chanting date, date, date.
Again, I would just leave.
Yeah.
Kind of like I felt that way in What's Wrong with Secretary Kim with the three-legged race with Queen Nam.
Yeah. Yep.
And they all start chanting, date him, date him, date him. And
At
I was
a
like,
work function of all things. Oh my gosh.
no, stop talking. All of you go away. But it's very interesting throughout all of it, though, how KyungSeok doesn't even comment. He doesn't respond whatsoever.
I think his thoughts are with how Mireille is handling it, though. Because he already knows what's going through her mind because he knows how insecure she is as a person.
Right.
And so he knows that it's highlighted by her being placed in, like, next to Sua. Even if it's just in her mind that there's, like, a comparison thing happening. And so I think he worries that Mireille is thinking what she's thinking, in that I'm never going to be able to compete with Sua, so why am I here?
Yeah.
And I don't know, that's my interpretation of what he's thinking. But anywho. This next topic is called privilege. Because of the bags.
Because of the bags.
And the pretty privilege that Sua has.
Sungwon, he's so annoying. And you see how Hye-sung must have felt with the manipulation and the control. Because sending off his assistant to get the most expensive bag for...
Not even picking it out himself.
No, for Kyunghee. And it's just like, it doesn't matter what the price is.
Spare no expense.
Just get it for her. And for his assistant to just be like, okay. But yeah, like, you're not even taking the time to be like, you know what? I want to get this for my daughter.
Something she likes, because he doesn't know.
He has no idea. He doesn't have conversations with his kids, ever, clearly. But, like, I mean, so when he goes to pick out the bags, you know, two very, very fancy-looking bags are placed in front of him. And one of them was compared of, like, there's only 5 of these in the whole country. Celebrities wanted this, but they
couldn't afford
it because it was so expensive. And that's when you're just like, yikes, dude. That's
too much for a 16-year-old girl.
That you have no actual relationship with. But when the assistant sees Hye-sung, he changes the style of bag. And I thought that was interesting too, because in his mind he was going, oh, he's using his daughter as a cover-up for trying to woo his ex-wife back. Because he had remembered when he had gotten back into, you know, the car after visiting her, and he just, you know, was all giddy of like, wow, she's still so pretty. And he's like, oh no, this is actually
for her. Hye-sung, sorry.
No, you're good.
Hye-sung asked to meet with Mireille again. But meanwhile, KyungSeok gets turned down yet again in his job-seeking endeavor. But But Sua stops him outside of class and asks him if he would like an interview where she's working, and he kind of agrees just out of desperation. Like, nothing's really working.
Right, might
I
as well
need
try.
something, at least temporarily. But they arrive at her job. The boss is not hiring. And he learns that KyungSeok has 0 work experience. Like, this kid is not appealing on paper.
Right.
But Sua smiles very brightly at her boss, and the boss tells him that he's hired since he can't refuse his Sua's request. And in the break room, down in the basement, we see that 2 of the employees are lamenting about their upcoming firing because the manager hires based on looks.
Mm-hmm.
And KyungSeok kind of walks in on the tail end of this conversation, and one of the employees says, "Look, he's calling me right now. You better go get fired." And KyungSeok marches straight back up the steps. He walks over to the boss, or over to the manager, and says, "I'm sorry, but I can't work here." And he just says goodbye and leaves. And Sua kind of takes off after him, and the boss is like, "Good-looking people are so arrogant. They just do whatever they want." But this is...
You're the one who wanted to hire him because he was good looking.
But this is just KyungSeok standing by his morals, and he refuses to get by on his looks.
I loved, I mean, like, this is him, again, just being consistent of, like, I will not deal with superficial.
Yeah. And
No.
I think the fact that it was Sua who gave him the opportunity just was like the icing on the angry cake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he, outside of the shop, straight asks Sua point blank, "Did you know that someone was going to get fired today if I got hired?" And she kind of hesitates and then says, "I was just trying to help you find a job. That's all it really was." Which is not a denial. So...
But she even tells him, you know, you're being really mean. No. This is not being mean. This is going...
This is honesty, friend.
Yeah. This is going... You knew someone was going to lose their job so that I could be part of this work environment with you when I have absolutely nothing to offer. That is the problem.
Yep. She's like, "How is this my fault?" Well. Anyway, but he just kind of just responds, "I'm just not trying to inconvenience anyone." And I think that was a very nice way to just kind of put a stop to the conversation, because throwing more accusations at her was just gonna get them nowhere. So he's like, "It's on me. I'm not out here trying to get anyone fired, so thanks but no thanks." This next one I called The First Step.
I found it to be a very relatable thing. Mireille's just standing there and she's just waiting because Hye-sung had called her and was like, "Hey, I want to meet up with you." And she's just like thinking over like just the interactions between her and KyungSeok and Hye-sung, and she says his name out loud. So I don't think she even realized, because she's just thinking aloud, and he just walks up and he goes, "Yeah, what did you need? Like, I'm right here."
I actually felt so bad for her in this moment.
I'm saying because, like, I've done that before.
I can't think of anything specific, but yeah.
So it was like I felt seen in that. And I'm just like, yeah, I've done that. But I like that KyungSeok is trying to figure out where they stand with each other right now, because he's made it, at least in his mind, he's made it pretty clear.
I think in everyone's mind.
Well, we all know.
Clear.
I think it's also he understands Mireille well enough to be like,
"I'm gonna have to bludgeon you with this for you to understand
why
I am here."
Right. And he just asks her if she likes WooYoung, and she's just like, "Huh?" Him and Ha, and I'm not sure how to answer. And he's just like, "Well, you're not saying no." And she's like, "Okay, I don't. Are you happy now?" Like,
I don't think that she's not considered it.
Right.
But that is definitely not her number one choice.
No. But it's just a very cute interaction.
It is, because it's him being a little bit insecure for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
He is not used to being the one who needs the affirmation,
That,
because
hey,
he
I
is
like
just
you.
very much here. But when it comes to Mirai, he's like,
But he's not just this. He's also...
he really is. He doesn't know. He doesn't know how to get any kind of anything back from her, to know what's going through her mind. But
I also found it so adorable that Hye-sung had showed up at that moment and just like kind of just stands there and just appreciates their friendship. Like, like, oh, look at my son and look at Mirai, and I love both of these people, and they are friends. Like, I'm getting to actually see them interact together in a way that I don't think she's ever seen them interact.
Yeah.
Just the two of them before.
Well, she's never seen him living his life,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
So that was also just I really liked that moment for Hye-sung, of just being like, you are getting to see into his life now. And you had to miss out on over a decade at the very least.
And I think that she knows who Mirai is and what kind of a person she is, and I think it's almost like relief that for Mirai to want to be in his life or be friends with him is a show of his character as a person, and that's reassuring to you as a parent, knowing that you are the company you keep. And so if you're hanging out with good people, it means that you are also good people. So I think that was some of her excitement too.
My husband didn't ruin him.
Seriously though.
Or ex-husband.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that she gets to come up and, learn, hey, we're actually kind of neighbors, like we live in the same area. And she was like, okay, well, I would like to take you out for a meal sometime. You just, you let me know when, because she's trying to extend that hand of like, I want to do this, but also I don't want to push you too far away. And so I love that he takes the step and goes, okay, well, why don't we do it today? Let's do it now. And they just have a needed, like, just comfortable time.
Sense of normal.
And their meal was just, poor guy, he's hungry.
I mean, let's be honest. It was probably like 40% influenced by the fact that he was just
starving,
hungry, and wanted a hot meal, and then the other half was wanting to actually connect with his mom.
And Mirai's gonna be there, so that's another perk.
Never hurts.
But he inhales a pile of jjajangmyeon.
He does inhale the jjajangmyeon.
And it looked so good.
It did look lovely. But while they're eating, he asks, so why were you guys meeting? And there's kind of this moment of, oh, he's going to figure it out. And then Hye-sung just kind of avoids the awkward by saying that, she mentors Mirai. And then KyungSeok just asks if he can order something else, which excites Hye-sung. And she just wants to be able to do something for her son. And this is something small that she can do that's just like a normal mother-son dynamic. And he asked for soju. So sharing a meal in Korea is kind of just like a sign of bonding, I think. And this is me kind of putting my own meaning into this context, but when you eat in Korea, it's off of a shared plate. And that's sort of an intimate act in my mind, to want to, cross silverware with somebody, there's got to be a level of like community and trust there. So I think of it as somewhat of an intimate act, being able to share a meal in this setting. And I also think that there's an expectation that you have like a positive relationship with that person. Because someone is probably paying for somebody else. Just sort of following the culture and the casual way that I have experienced it from time to time. But I think drinking is also in that same vein. And so when she perks up at the mention of like soju, because it's a very social, it's a very integral piece of like the social culture there. So I think, again, sharing that drink is an indicator that they're like bonding with each other.
That there's relationship beginning, at the very least, for them.
But we learn right away where KyungSeok gets his tolerance for alcohol from.
Oh, yeah.
This last one I called Open Invitation.
So this is just a little blip, but if it's important that someone presents his daughter with this purse, and it is not like a style for a teenager, at least in my mind, compared to the other ones that were shown. And he's just like, this is one of the most expensive bags, so, like, you know, don't brag about it, don't be a show off. Like, first of all, dude, you're trying to establish, not just establish, you're trying to, like, solidify your control over your daughter. But the look on her face, like, was so sad. Like, I thought it was sad. She didn't look sad. She just looked
disappointed,
annoyed, a little resentful. I think of, like, this is what you're going to give me, and you're trying to send me away. Because my grades are not.
Because it's not her style, for one. It's for a middle-aged woman.
Right.
And she knows this.
Yeah. So it was just a very, like, kind of heartbreaking moment, especially for Kyung-hee, just to be like, I really am nothing to you.
Well, he tries to, like, reward her by giving her back her streaming capabilities, like her computer and whatever. And that gets her really excited for half a second, but then he immediately kills the mood by saying, make sure that when that woman reaches out to you that you don't respond. And she kind of realizes that I'm never going to get an I love you from you. Everything is transactional. I am just here for keeping up appearances, and I am your last pawn in this game because you've already lost the ex-wife and you've already lost my older brother, so cool. You're trying to, like, satiate my need for love through streaming. Right, so I don't. It was sad. Like you said. Yeah,
it just. And I think she's at the point where her brother has already gone through this. And that's why he hasn't had friends for a good chunk of his life. Because if they found out who his dad was, it was all, what can you do for me? That's why his only real friend has been Yoojin all along, is because they have similar parents and how they are treated. And so
people of authority.
Right. And so Kyung-hee is... And being in high school also, you know, that's a tumultuous time anyway, but so she's kind of just, I think her brother has gone through these emotions already, which is why he's the way he is. And now that's my...
Well, guys and girls are so different, though.
Well, my theory is that is why she does the streaming.
Yeah, because she needs
those words of affirmation. She needs to know that she is...
Yeah.
Accepted.
Yeah, absolutely. Haesung, KyungSeok, and Mirai share a drink, a soju bomb. I think that Mirai kind of feels a bit like she's intruding on a very personal conversation, because in a way she is, but they both trust her implicitly,
right? And
so it's not unwarranted to have her there, especially since she was kind of the original. The one that brought them together.
Well, and she was, like, Haesung had asked Mirai to go out to dinner, so it was originally...
Yeah, technically KyungSeok's the one intruding, but...
It was supposed to be a girls' night, but...
Yeah. But Haesung reveals that she had never called KyungSeok because she was worried that it was going to impact him in a negative way, and I think that's very poignant for him, because, yes, it was the wrong way to go about it, but it was done with his well-being in mind.
Right.
So even though it was still damaging, and we don't negate the fact that it was damaging, that she did not try to contact him, her intentions were to not put him in a position to where it was going to send him into a spiral. Not, I was hiding from you, I didn't know how to say these things, or, you know, it was with him in mind. And I think that really struck a chord with him. And he acknowledges his connection to her by saying, like, I must get my tolerance from you. It was his very, very, very roundabout way of saying, like, you're my mom.
Right.
Essentially.
Well, clearly he does get his tolerance because there's
4 empty beer bottles and 4 empty soju bottles.
And they're just doing shots of soju, and
yes,
that can be a lot, especially when you take them that fast.
Yeah, on a sort of empty stomach. But they get ready to part ways, but they run into WooYoung Sunbae in the street.
Mm-hmm.
And Haeyoung Haesung learns that he is actually rooming with KyungSeok, which makes her extremely happy. Because it, again, just furthers this idea that he's hanging out with the right people.
Right.
He invites everyone over for round 2.
Well, I love in that moment, she proudly says, "This is my son."
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes it so that WooYoung doesn't feel awkward because he already knows, but nobody knows that he knows.
Mm-hmm.
And so she gets to have that moment of, "This is my son."
Mm-hmm.
And KyungSeok doesn't look upset about the fact that she's telling people now.
Yeah.
Which then makes it
because he sees
easier.
her as a person that he's proud to be related to, I think.
Mm-hmm. Especially knowing
his dad, who's kind of a
schmuck.
Deadbeat. What was I doing? Oh,
good
round
people.
2.
Round 2, yep.
But WooYoung tells Mireille that she should tag along too, and he walks off with Haesung, and then it's KyungSeok and Mireille, and she's like, I'm just gonna go. Like, I've overstayed my welcome. And he's like, no, you're coming. And walks away and doesn't give her a chance to, like, change her mind. But they get to their apartment.
It looked like just like a fun,
casual
hangout. Let's just enjoy time. And I love Mireille's take on this of just like, she must be so happy. This is what she's been longing for. She's been longing for the ability to talk with her son, and he must be so happy at the same time, even if he doesn't quite know how to show it, because he's obviously been longing for a relationship with his mom.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, I'm so happy because, like, that's the person that saved my life. I didn't know I was going to be able to run into her again in the future, and I didn't know that she was, KyungSeok's mom, and I'm really grateful that I'm friends with him now. And even looking at WooYoung, she's just like, I'm glad he's in my life. Like, this is just a good time. But as she's having all of these revelations, everything is in and out of focus. And
well, hang on, before she gets out of focus. Haesung is kind of, she's speaking with everyone, and then Mireille's like, can you please use Panma with me, because your casual speech, because I'm your son's friend now. We're not really in this formal relationship. It's I would like you to use Panma, and so she does. And then Haesung proceeds to ask KyungSeok if he has a girlfriend, which WooYoung answers, probably. And this puts KyungSeok in a really awkward position because he can't deny it.
Because he definitely has a crush.
But he doesn't want to confirm when his own interests, like, can't figure it out for herself that she is his interest.
Well, because he even looks at her and asks her, are you sure you're okay? You've drank quite a bit tonight.
Yeah, earlier in their conversation, yeah. But he basically just says, you can think whatever you want. And then Mireille starts to see the room spin.
And then we're in and out of focus, and we're sitting happy, giggling, and then we're laying down, and we're giggling and happy.
Both boys immediately jump to her aid.
It was
offering to carry her home on their backs. But Haesung, because it's her son, he just says, right. KyungSeok, please carry her home. Because in her mind, it's who do I burden with this task?
Right. And I would like to maybe spend just a little bit more time with just my son.
Yeah. But I mean, you can ask that of your kid. You can't really ask that of a younger man. And why would you when your son is right there?
Yeah. I'm your mom. I get to tell you what to do.
But I love that. Yeah, it's a win for Team KyungSeok. But
Right.
when he gets her up on his back, WooYoung's kind of like, "Are you okay, Mirai?" And KyungSeok just like smiles smugly at him because he's like, "Haha, look what I got to do."
Boo boo.
But it's at Mirai's house, and he brings her in, and Hyunjung shows him where to put her, and he lays Mirai down in her bed, and then he just kind of takes a minute to kind of pause and look around the room a little bit.
Kind of see her in her own
space.
element
and where she's comfortable. And I think you can tell a lot about a person by like their room or how they choose to decorate their space.
Mm-hmm.
Mine is chaos.
Mine is K-pop. Actually, I have a lot of classic art. Like, I just have a lot of stuff.
I also have a lot of stuff I'm trying to get rid of. But it was kind of a nice little moment where he got a glimpse into her life, because she doesn't really let people in very much. So he's got to pick up bits and pieces where he can.
When he can, yeah.
When he can.
But then as Hee-sung and Kyung-seok, they've left, and she's walking to a taxi to go home now. She just kind of brings up with Kyung-seok, like, you could have moved in with me, but I also know that it probably would have been too much and really awkward. And so, like, I understand that, but like, if you need something, like, you can ask that of me. I want you to, pretty much. But then she just gives him money and was like, go get a hangover drink for Mirai. She's gonna need it in the morning. And hands him 50,000 won. And he's just like, she's like, I don't have any other change. And she knows that her son is trying to figure this whole new world out.
And has no support right now.
Right. And so, if, I can just give you, this is all I've got. Just use it. But I love that she breaks through his wall a little bit more and asks him, can I hug you? And he just, yeah, okay. And you get to see that wall starts to crack for him, because he's been wanting his mom. And now he's
just
at
didn't
that.
know how to say it.
And they're at that point where it's like, yeah, we can start to, explore that area of what
There's
a relationship
trust
can
enough
be.
to build a relationship now. Before, there was no trust.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all based on the web of lies that Sangwon had spun for them.
Right.
And led them to believe one narrative when truly something else was happening. And so now that they've kind of cleared the air there, that, yeah, they have a foundation upon which they can build that mother-son relationship. But it's a little stiff, but it's very, very sweet.
It was very precious. Very needed.
Yeah. But KyungSeok picks up a bus card and some hangover medicine for Mirai. And Hye-sung, oh my gosh. Hye-sung, she is smiling to herself on the cab ride home, on the verge of tears, because this is something that she never thought she would be able to have.
Yeah.
Rebuilding her family like this. But it's the next morning, and Hyunjung is scolding Mirai for basically looking a fool getting drunk like that when a mother and son are trying to reconcile. Like, what are you doing? You're interrupting this. But Mirai just kind of thrashes around like, I'm so stupid. Why did I do this? I feel terrible. And I looked dumb in front of everybody. Both people that I kind of like right now. But KyungSeok is waiting for Mirai on purpose this time. And hands her the hangover medicine. And she kind of tries to refuse it, like, no, I'm okay. And he just, like, opens it and puts it in her hand and walks toward the bus stop. And she just kind of eats it, like,
okay, you're right.
This is nice. I don't mind the attention a little bit.
Also, I feel like trash. So.
Yes, I won't refuse something to make me feel like less trash. But at the bus stop, he asks if she's feeling better, and she's just like, did I make any mistakes toward you last night. That's what I'm really worried about.
Mhm.
He's like, you didn't do anything. And then she apologizes, like, what do you mean I didn't do anything? I made you carry me home. I'm sorry. And his response is, don't drink more than 3 glasses of soju if I'm not around. I don't want other guys carrying you home. And we end our episode.
End of episode.
Character of the hour.
Go for it.
Mine is WooYoung Sunbae. He's just a good dude.
He's a good dude.
We've beat that horse to death
Mhm.
many, many times.
Mhm.
And he just continues to be so consistently a good dude. He's my character of the hour.
Yes. I have Haesung as my number 1, and then KyungSeok as my runner-up. Haesung's doing so much work to just try to reach out her hand, but she is not overreaching. She's not pushing, I'm making you uncomfortable. She's just going, no, I just want to be here.
Open hand.
If you need me, I'll do whatever you need me to do. And I think, honestly, if she knows that her ex-husband is talking about cutting her son's tuition, she would be like, nah, bro. Your tuition is covered. Don't worry about it. But then KyungSeok of just his character, especially when learning that somebody might lose their job just in order for him to get hired solely because he's handsome and like super handsome.
And he needed that job. It's not that he didn't.
Yeah. But just he's not willing to waver on that. And like that shows who you are as a person. So
those are good.
That's mine.
I like it.
I like it.
Final thoughts.
This was a fun episode.
It was fun.
I mean,
kind of piggybacking off of the whole movie theater drama.
Right. We get more romance.
Yeah.
I needed more romance.
And we're starting to repair some of the core relationships, I think.
Right.
I like that we brought back Chanu.
Yeah. And I mean, yes, but also no.
I just think it's funny to bring him back and see that he really has not learned his lesson,
No,
like in any way, shape, or form.
The worst.
The coffee shop ploy, however you want to phrase it, was kind of desperate on Sua's behalf.
Well, like, none of that has worked for you in the past with him. Why are we thinking that this is going to change?
Yeah, that's
He's
why I feel
consistent
like
with
it
you.
was a play of desperation just to try to get him to be near her. Because she thinks if I can spend enough time with him, I can get him to change his mind.
Yeah, proximity.
Yeah, so I think that was her hope. And it felt like things were finally going her way for a half a second there. Until her character exposed itself again, and he learned that she knew that he was gonna get somebody fired.
I'm really enjoying WooYoung also. He's similar to KyungSeok. He just is consistently a good guy.
It's just not quite as broody.
No, you're not broody at all. But I also I like how he handles situations, especially like in the classroom.
Yeah.
Are they spreading rumors about me
I
again?
know, it was really cute.
Man, darn it.
It was a good way to disarm people. Yeah, I'm excited for the drama. Oh, sorry. Apparently I'm not that excited. I'm excited for the drama between our 3 main characters to really come to a head.
Yeah.
For you to see where that kind of...
Well, I'm also very interested in how, like, what's gonna happen with Kyung-hee. And I mean, her dad is now talking about that woman again. So clearly there's going to be a play, quote unquote, there to... She's going to find out the truth. and either, you know, not believe that it's the truth or
Pick a side of
pick a
some sort.
side, right?
Is this an unhinged theory? Or a hinged theory?
I think it's a hinged theory. I don't think it's that unhinged.
Yeah, there's not much room for unhinging like there was in Goblin, but
Mythical creatures tend to be a little more unhinged.
It's a bit out there. I'm excited for you to see where this story goes. Take some interesting twists and turns here.
Okay.
A couple episodes, so.
Sua's still the worst.
Yeah, we know.
I think I've said that every single episode.
You really have, since day one. So, at least you're consistent.
At least I'm consistent.
Well, that was episode 9. If you're not following us on Instagram, make sure you head there and follow us. We are available on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Pods. Check out our season 2 of KyungSeok's Creature, which is currently releasing in tandem with our Gangnam Beauty season. We have been
so excited
about this. It's been a long time in the making, and it just timed out really, really well. So we hope you've been enjoying those. Yeah, a bit of a different,
a little more extreme.
a little different genre there. So, yeah. We'll see you next time. Wanna be your girlfriend, yeah. Wasn't that Secretary Kim?
Yep.
Man, that was a lifetime ago.
Almost a year.
Stop it.